Good morning, everyone. Today we're going to do a viewer request on how I get my fingers to come out the way I do on my dolls. So I'm assuming that she is using the Hug Me Baby pattern, so that's what we're going to use today. And the first thing we do is we get out our heat erasable pens. This is it right here. I purchased these off Amazon. I'll leave a link below to the ones I use, but they are heat erasable, and that's how I do mine. The first thing to do is look at your stretch guide and make sure your stretch is going the same way that I've indicated on the pattern here. And then we're just going to outline with our heat erasable pen this pattern. And these are the lines that I sew on. So let me get this traced. We'll be right back. All right, and so here's our hand. And you see that we've traced it just as we have our stretch guidelines done. And if you're having problems here, just go over it a little bit and define your gaps between the fingers and make it so that you can see them, because this is the most important to get your fingers to come out right. And do it like that, like this, and up. Okay, so now I think I've indicated in the pattern directions that each of these little spaces equates to 2 stitches on my sewing machine. And I believe I have a 2.5 inch length stitch, or 2.5, I don't think it's 2.5 inch, 2.5 stitches per inch is what I think that's set at. Let's go over to the sewing machine and I'll show you how I sew it. Okay, so I've got my pattern in the machine, and I have set it, if your machine has it, let me raise this up, if your machine has it, I have set on slow mode right here in needle down position. If you've got that option, you want to have your needle down every time you stop and pivot. Okay, so that's the most important part. So let me see if I can get this so we can see it. Okay, this is going to be a little hard for me to do and show you this because I can't get my camera set up correctly, but okay, let's just go. Backspace here at the arm. Okay, coming around the elbow, lift, pivot, go back down. We've got another little pivot right here at the wrist. We're going to go in, needle down. Okay, we had a little bit of a snafu with the camera, but okay, so we're at the wrist right now. We've got our needle down. We're going to raise our presser foot and pivot just a little bit because we've got this area right here. We've got the wrist, and then we're going to make a little hump here where the thumb starts like this, and that's what we're sewing now. We're going to sew that little hump. There we go. And then we're going to pick up, pivot. Now we're going to sew the thumb. And go slow and pivot as you can around those curves on these little tiny little fingers. That's the most important part. Really, the most important part is tracing it properly. And if you just follow your trace lines, you're good to go, essentially. So there we go. Now we're going to come in to where the thumb ends, right here. We're right here. We're going to sew right up here. Okay, now we're at a finger. We're going to pivot again. We're going to sew the first finger. Again, it's just essential that you just go really slow and pick up your presser foot and make sure your needle is down always when you pick up. And go slow. This is how long it takes me to do it. There we go, staying on our trace line. Hope this fabric doesn't get in your way. There we go. You see we're coming down. And there is the first connection right here. We're right here now. So we're going to pick up, pivot, and go 1, 2. That's it. Just 2. And you can see we're right back on the line there on the second finger. So go up, pick up that presser foot, pivot a little bit, and follow that curve right around that second fingertip. Again, sorry about that fabric on the end. Okay, second little intersection. 1, 2. That's it, just 2. We're coming back around. There we are. Third fingertip. Picking up that presser foot always. There we go. Pivot again. The last connection. 1, 2. This one might have 3. The little pinky might have 3 for me, the way I traced. Oops, lost my stitch. There we go. And pick up. Pick up this fabric. Oops, sorry. There we go. Go back around. Following your trace lines always is going to give you the best result. Now we're going to come to this part of the hand right here and back down to the wrist. And there we go. And the last stretch here. And this is going to get the outer edge of that arm. Oops. Thread there in my way. And backspace and done. Scissors, cut that, and there we go. So now that's our hand, just like that. You can see there's not a whole lot of stitches in between these fingers. So let's go ahead and we'll get it cut out and snipped so the fingers can move. Okay, so here we go. We're going to go ahead and cut. And we're going to cut leaving about, I'm going to say about a 1/16 of an inch on this. Not a whole lot. Come around. And the way I do mine is I cut, I got a lot of shadow on here, don't I? Okay, well, I was rambling on and realized I wasn't recording, so let's start where we left off. So I made another one. So we're going to go around the fingers. We're not going to go into them. We just want to get rid of this excess fabric. So let's cut around. Let's go in here. Grab that. Don't get too precise with that just yet because we need to make some snips. And then follow it back up. And cut your arm off. So that's what I usually am left with when I'm doing hands. So then I'm gonna go in and right here at the wrist and the thumb, I'm gonna make a quick snip here at the other part of that little hump between the wrist and the thumb. Make a snip, and then I'm gonna go in to the right of every finger, just to the right. This is my traced side, so go to the right and snip down and snip, but do not go to the stitch line. Go around, snip, just to the line, not all through it, or you're going to ruin your whole fingers. And there you go. And to the stitch line. And then we're going to flip it over, and we're going to go to the right again. And this way, I know I can get as much of the excess fabric off as I want to, so it doesn't bulk out my fingers too much and make it hard to turn. Just snip right to that line. Again, we're going to do the same thing. Right to the line. And if it hangs on, pull it out or snip it off. There we go. And then this one, I'm just going to get rid of that excess right there. And then snip here at the wrist and where the pinky meets that little fleshy part. Okay, so there we go. And that's what I have. Now, my most invaluable equipment is my hemostats. So we're going to go in and we're going to open up the hemostats and press the finger fabric in there and pull it into the hand. If you have a method that you like for turning, use that. If you're confident with that, hemostats are what work for me. So there we go. Pull it through. And there we don't have a lot of bulk. I put my hemostats in and I just open it so I can like get all of the fingers puffed out the way I want them. And there we go. Here is our hand. Here is our pattern. And if we lay that right on, we can see that it worked. So the most important part of doing your hands is, I've got a cat hollering. Garen, shh. He'll be quiet. He wants to play. So, Garen. Sorry, Garen. Okay. So the most important part is to take away as much of that excess fabric as you can, and that helps your fingers turn. Now, if you don't like these little fingers, or you want your fingers longer, the pattern is yours to do what you want with it. If you want to make a fatter hand, bulk out your pattern. If you want longer fingers, just make them longer. Just extend them. Or you can also see how I've got the stretch here, so everything is going to come out this way. So if you're not liking the way your hands are stuffing, if they're coming out too like that, then turn your pattern this way so that the stretch goes that way, and your fingers will then become longer, but so will your arm. So you have to keep that in mind too. So if you want longer fingers but a chunkier arm, just add to the pattern. Bulk it out maybe 1/4 of an inch and see how you like it, 1/8 of an inch, and just make some test runs and see how you like it. And again, if the pattern is yours, you can do what you want with it. Make it your own. Get the look that you like. These are just my Hug Me Babies, and I mean, you can alter, do what you want, make your own kind of babies. But that's how I do my hands. And then I just stuff them with just a little bit of stuffing, just like that. I'll do it real quickly for you. It's not much stuffing at all in these fingers. But I do make sure I get them all the way in the fingers. And that's why I love hemostats. Okay, and then for the palm, just a little bit. Maybe start out with just a little, about like that for your palm. Again, I use weighting beads in mine, so I usually only do this part right here. That's what I stuff. And then my weighting beads from the wrist to maybe about 1/2 an inch, I fill with weighting beads and then stuff the rest with polyfill. So that's it. I hope that helped you, and I hope your fingers come out more to your liking in the future for your next round of Hug Me Babies, okay? So that's it for today. Thank you guys for watching. Give it a thumbs up if you learned anything from it, or if you just liked hearing me yell at my cat. So, okay, have a great day. We'll see you again. Bye!